of Squirrel's secret. Squirrel was excited. She hoped and skipped and twitched her bushy tail with excitement. She had a secret, and she had to share it with someone. The very first someone she saw was Rabbit. Rabbit was busy looking for the greenest, tastiest patch of grass. So she took a quick look at Squirrel and carried on with her search. Squirrel lowered her voice and whispered, "Don't tell anyone, but I'm having a party with yummy food and funny hats." "Oh, really?" mumbled Rabbit, who was far more interested in her delicious grass. She wasn't listening properly to Squirrel at all. So when Squirrel spotted her friend's Mole, who was busy digging, she had some rather strange news. In hushed tones, Rabbit whispered to the Mole's velvety ear, "Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel's having a party and she's inviting a lot of stray cats." I see," muttered Mole. He was inspecting his newly dug hole. He wasn't paying much attention to Rabbit. Later, Mole spied his friend Fox basking in the fall sun and decided to tell him the news. He scampered over and said, "Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel's having a picnic, and she's making pies for all the rats." "Whatever," snored Fox lazily. He was far more interested in catching the latest rays of sunshine and had only a half-heard Mole's news. As day turned to dusk, Fox saw his friend Owl perching on an oak tree waiting for the moon to appear. "I may as well tell the news," thought Fox, who was more awake by now. So he walked over to Owl and called up to him, "Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel's having a picnic and she's going to wear her fancy pants." "Well, there's a thing," hooted Owl, paying more attention to the moon than what Fox was saying. Later, as dawn was breaking, Owl spotted a friend, Deer. He was busy picking his way gracefully through the underground, looking for tasty fall berries. "Come here, Deer," called Owl softly. As Deer half turned to him, he lowered his voice and said, "Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel has a pink stick to tap dance when she learns to dance." Deer stopped for a second and looked up in surprise. Then he turned back. Particularly juicy crop of blackberries. He hadn't quite caught everything that Owl had said. That afternoon, Deer bumped into his friend Mouse, who was scurrying around in the leaves. He was very busy eating the berries that Deer had dropped. "Owl told me the strangest thing," Deer muttered. "Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel's wearing lipstick and she's gone out to eat with all her aunts." Mouse was very hungry indeed, and he certainly wasn't in the mood for paying much attention to the woodland chit-chat. But when Mouse heard his friend Woodpecker rat-a-tat-tatting on an old oak tree, he thought he'd better pass on the news. "If you can spare a minute," he shouted to make himself heard above Woodpecker's noise. Woodpecker looked down, and the Mouse continued at the top of his little voice. "Stop! Listen! You've got it all wrong!" "No, we've skipped a page, buddy." "Don't tell anyone, but Squirrel's buying a boat. Ticket to sail the seas to sunny France." The Woodpecker hadn't entirely stopped rat-a-tat-tatting, so the message he thought he heard was quite different. "What, really? Squirrel's won a prize? A lucky chance?" exclaimed Woodpecker loudly. Squirrel had been busy minding her own business, but when she heard the Woodpecker's news, she jumped up. "Stop! Wait! You've got it all wrong!" she called in frustration. At that, all the creatures stopped what they were doing and looked up. "It's not true!" cried Squirrel. "What? You haven't got a lucky chance?" asked Woodpecker. "No, I'm afraid not," replied Squirrel. "But you are going to sail to France, aren't you?" inquired Mouse. "No, not ever," Squirrel declared. What about wearing lipstick and going to eat with your aunts? Deer tried. Absolutely not, cried Squirrel. So no dancing with a pink stick, then? Hesitated Owl. My goodness, no, sighed Squirrel impatiently. Do you even have fancy pants? Asked Fox nervously. No, Squirrel sputtered. And baking pies for rats isn't your thing, muttered Mole. Not in a million years, wailed Squirrel. And you're not having a party with stray cats, Rabbit whispered. No, 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 Squirrel groaned. But what is happening is that I'm having a party with yummy food and friends, and you're all invited. The very next day, everyone gathered in the woodland clearing for Squirrel's big party, and they all wore funny hats and had the best time ever. That was the tale of the squirrel's secret.